right, you ready? We got Melanie Martinez, Recess. Hey, she's doing like all the class periods, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what she got.
The doors are locked.
So dance.
I was too young to see the truth. In my grandma's lap, I'm drowning in her perfume.
What's happening? What's going on?
Too naive to even care.
I can't stop. We gotta do something, guys.
Brushed out my hair. People gonna say, if you need a break, someone will take your place.
I love dancing, but this is kind of ridiculous.
To tell you that
Finish my
you're
crybaby and stop this
dollars
now.
in their eyes. Just remember, don't let them fuck you, honey. No, don't let them try. Don't let them hurt you, baby. Just say recess. I'm tired. Sitting in my room, looking at all I've done. Everything I wanted has come to fruition.
My powers
I
won't start.
should be happy,
I've
but
lost
I
control.
can't get out my bed.
Yeah, I can't use mine either.
Stress and
Where is she?
the voices screaming
My legs are killing me.
inside my head. People gonna say, if you need a break, someone will take your place. People gonna try to tell you that you're fine.
Wow, I love that she's talking about the pressure that she is under, whether it's in school or in her career. Because when she says, she was too naive to care, it makes me think about the naivety
Yeah.
of someone that's very new to something, which could pertain to a relationship, but it can also pertain to your career. Because knowing a little bit about her backstory and knowing the struggles that she faced as a performer, she says something, if you take a break, someone's going to take your place. Instantly, I think about, when you're this hot shot in Hollywood, right? Like the minute that you take a break, they're going to replace you with someone new. Because like the show must go on. And so if you also look at it in a relationship standpoint, if you want to take a break from someone, there may be this chance that the other person that you're with may find someone else. So I love that you can apply it in both scenarios. But here you're seeing it in this, what looks like prom night or something. And, everyone's always trying to find like a date. And you notice how some of them, you'll see like two females dancing together, which is, not something that you may have seen in this time period, which seems to be like back in the day. And if you did, it was very taboo. So I love that she touches on, things like that.
Yeah, and I think you make a good point when it comes to being replaced, right? When you can look at it in a lot of domains, but just if you take a step back and you look at things from a broad perspective, that applies to literally everything, right? Like at some point, like we die, we're just humans, and there's a million other humans that'll replace you in your job, in your relationship. People have needs, and people are gonna fulfill those needs. So you'd be really naive to think that you're so special that no one can fill that void. And unfortunately, that's not true. I mean, it's not. Like, you have historic figures that make history, of course.
Yeah.
But you don't really know how it plays out if they're not alive. Like, if a historic figure doesn't exist, maybe another different historic figure would have done the same thing, right? You think of someone like as prominent as like Julius Caesar. If there's no Julius Caesar, how do we know if another Caesar doesn't come along under a different name that does something
Would
similar?
have been Brutus.
Right. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's always historical figures that really make an impact. But at the same time, like, we don't know if someone else could have led people in the same direction, or maybe in a totally different direction, but we're definitely replaceable. And I like that she touches on the fact that, like, she's able to kind of see that the minute she stops, there'll be someone else with the same dream that wants to do the same thing. And like you said, the show goes on, and these producers are always going to keep producing. And then in 20 years, like, you see some of the artists that were really prominent 20 years ago, they're simply replaced by another artist. And we may look back like, oh my God, this was the best. This was great. Like, I think of like TLC, for instance. There'll never be another TLC, but they don't get the listens that some of these newer artists get. And over time, their audience just diminishes, right? I actually heard someone say, and the person was maybe 10 years younger than me, say like, they didn't know who JoJo was. Remember JoJo? And in my head, I was like, holy shit, you don't know who JoJo was? And it makes me think about how
Old you are?
yeah, how old I am. And like, certain generations don't go back. Some people are different. Everyone's different. But like, they don't get the same recognition as the generations go on. You know, at some point you become a name, but it's not as prevalent as you used to be. And I mean, that's just what it is, I guess.
I mean, I beg to differ. I would say there's some that have made such a huge footprint that they will be looked at as this person or this entity that will be a legend.
That's true. Like, you're saying that they leave their stamp.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I shouldn't use the word replaced, because they're not replaceable, of course, but there is someone that comes in and takes that limelight.
Yeah.
And they're different, but someone comes in.
Yeah. And it's gonna happen. I instantly think of like the belt that you get when you win like the title championship.
Because
it'll always be passed down, at least. So like the torch will always be passed down, or the baton will always be passed down.
I agree.
But it doesn't mean that that person will not be forgotten. Like, that person is not going to be forgotten, though.
Yeah, I think they live on in the sense that like they inspire, right? Like I think of like some of the best athletes, like Jordan, right? Like, even in 40 years, if people aren't bringing him up as much, he inspired the next generation of athletes and the generation after that.
Yeah.
And he continues to inspire. And then you have athletes like Kobe Bryant that blossom out of that. And then Kobe Bryant, someone's going to want to be like Kobe. And then it's kind of like just a cycle.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, with Melanie Martinez, she has such deep insight that she can see it from such a broad perspective. She's not so narrowly focused on like her accomplishments. She's like, this is just a time and a moment that I'm having. And I think she's really introspective in that way.
Yeah. And she definitely understands the consequences of her choices.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to tell you that you're fine with dollars in their eye. Where is my time gone in my mind? Gone, I can't find euphoria when I get upset. I think in my head, like, do as she said. People gonna say, if you need a break, someone will take your place. People gonna try to tell you that you're fine with dollars in their eyes. Just remember, don't let them fuck you.
I can't do this anymore.
No, don't let them try. Don't
Yo, that dog barking, why does it sound so familiar? It's from something in our childhood, no?
That dog?
Like, I want to say it's like AOL or something.
I don't know. I don't recognize the sound.
Wow, I have another idea about what the song is about, or at least this music video, because you notice that in the beginning, someone says the door, it's closed. And then whoever is on the intercom is like, just dance, like just keep dancing. And I can't help but think about people who are almost forced in relationships. Like I think about people who are forced in their marriage, like forced to stay in their marriage. Because like the dance is almost kind of like the relationship. And you hear towards the end, one of the girls is like, I can't do this. It almost sounds like when someone's like, I can't be in this relationship anymore. Because, you know, this, like when you dance with someone, you're supposed to be, you know, on the same beat as them. You know, there's like someone that leads, someone that follows. You're supposed to mirror each other. And so I can't help but maybe think that Melanie Martinez is touching on a relationship that she may have been in where she was forced to be a part of for a while, forced to work things out. And, you know, that classic saying is like, when one door closes, or when one door closes, another opens. And it almost seems like the door just never opens. So they're forced in this dance, this relationship.
Yeah, I think that's a really good interpretation. It makes me think of like potentially the dance can symbolize like life, right? Like life gets really hard and then there's always someone telling us to continue. And that could be in a relationship, that could be at a job, that could be in school, that could be your parents, it could be a lot of things where people are like, I don't want to stop. No, you have to keep going, keep going. It doesn't matter how much you want to stop. And it's easy for us to get in our heads and like, what the fuck are we doing all this for? Because it's hard, right? But I think that could potentially be an idea too.
Yeah, and hence the name recess. Like we just want to break. We want to take that hiatus. We just want a breather.
Yeah, we want more than just a vacation, right?
We want to play.
We want a permanentcation.
We want that playtime.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, in like 20, 30, 40 years, I can see the work hours beginning to shrink. And I think it's already happening now, but like the work hours are going to begin to shrink. Like the mayor already said something about like 3-day work weeks. And I think at some point we're going to need, especially as technology continues to advance, a lot of the minuscule and meaningless jobs are going to get replaced by AI and technology and robots and software, algorithms, stuff like that.
Yeah, and as these leaders are getting replaced with younger people, like from, you know, our generation, even the generation that's after us, like these new ideas that, you know, may have worked in the past are going to be replaced with our ideas that work for us today. Which is why like more people are like leaving their jobs so that they can pursue their personal aspirations. You know, they're all becoming entrepreneurs. They're no longer climbing this corporate ladder. They're creating their own, you know, spot. They're all becoming CEOs of their own companies. And they're becoming like independent artists. Like it's crazy because I just saw that one of the prime ministers are really trying to pass this law where it's, you know, this 4-day work week, and really cutting down to like 6 hours a day. So it's happening.
Yeah, and it sounds like a contradiction, but there's studies that actually indicate that like you're more productive if you work less. And when you first hear it, you're like, how's that possible? But it makes sense. Like our ability to focus is limited. Right? Like if you take your focus at maximum, your ability to focus is going to be around the 90-minute mark. And anything past 90 minutes, you're at that point, you're kind of just struggling to maintain focus because focus requires a lot of mental effort to be able to just focus on something. So people go and do 9 to 5s. You're not actually doing 9 to 5 from 9 to 5. You're probably doing 9 to 5 from like 9 to 10, then maybe from like 2 to 3, but then between like 11 and 1, maybe you're watching some shit, you're reading an article, maybe you're smoking 20 cigarettes, you're going out for breaks, you know. So if you're just going to go by productivity, then having someone just sit at a desk for 9 hours is not really ideal for productivity. You'll get the same result from someone that's working 4 hours kind of spread out, but they're hyper focused for those 4 hour, not 4 hour increments, but like 4 hours total, but maybe in like 1 or 2 hour increments. Or you just let people work however they want to work and they find what suits them best.
Yeah. Like, why did naps get taken out after after like preschool? Like, naps and sleeping have been proven that it helps consolidate your memory. Like, why isn't that like carried over in our work, in our jobs?
It makes sense why kids in kindergarten are so productive, right?
It's just so sharp.
Yeah, they're over there just building all kinds of blocks, color coding everything, right? Just super energetic.
Super energized.
And it makes sense because they don't have to sit at a desk, right? They just have like this day room, and they're just like a bunch of animals that are really productive, and then they sleep, they eat.
Yeah, we definitely have to like focus back on, what's working and what's not in children.
Yeah.
Like, you can't expect them to sit on their ass like all those hours. Like, there's a reason why there's playtime and nap time.
And then wonder why everyone's on some kind of medication.
Right. And then that's it.